So, if you've been paying attention lately, you'll notice that Joe Rogan has been ousted as the number one podcast, according to Spotify and Apple, by a brand new podcast. Um, what is it? I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's. I don't think it's true, but hey, I don't know. I don't know what the numbers they go off of are. I don't see how it's getting the viewership it says it's getting. And I'll explain why. First, I'm going to read this article here. This is The Hill. I'm going to read part of it. Then I'm going to show you some numbers that I compiled. Oh, I'm going to tell you. Actually, I'm not going to show you because I've got it compiled here. But I'm going to tell you some numbers I've compiled, which you can go and verify for yourself, which would kind of tell me that there's a bit of tomfoolery going on around here, skull buggery or duggery or whatever, little shenanigans. But let's see what the Hill has to say about it. So Kylie Kelsey unseats Joe Rogan as top podcast with debut episode. Kylie Kelsey, wife of NFL player turned media personality Jason Kelsey, beat out Joe Rogan for the top podcast spot on both Apple and Spotify this week. On Apple Music, Not Gonna Lie, hosted by Kylie Kelsey, ranked ahead of Rogan's show Crime Junkie and the New York Times The Daily, among other heavyweights in the space. During her inaugural episode, Kelsey spoke on her recent pregnancy announcement, gave her thoughts on gender reveals, and shared what the past 2 years have been like as the Kelsey family has gained popularity. Rogan has for years been one of the most influential figures in podcasting and new media. The comedian and entertainer got a boost in popularity during the 2024 election, hosting a wide-ranging conversation with President-elect Trump before endorsing him days later. Kelsey, her husband Jason, and his brother Travis, who was dating singer Taylor Swift, I mentioned Taylor Swift, have experienced a boom in popularity in recent... Oh, geez. What happened there? What the hell happened there? In recent months and have been featured prominently in a number of advertisement and media promos. For some reason, oh, that's it. Oh, good. I'm glad this article is nice and short. But, okay, so here's what I was saying about the numbers. So here's Spotify's list, whatever. I tried to go in and see if I could find Spotify's numbers or even Apple's numbers, but good luck with that. They don't show that kind of thing. The only way to really get it is going through like social media and such. So I did a little bit. So I checked Instagram just to see. So I went on Instagram, checked out Kylie Kelsey's Instagram, her personal Instagram, and then the Not Gonna Lie page. So her personal Instagram has 2.3 million followers. Her Not Gonna Lie page has 374,000 followers, right? Okay. YouTube, 179,000 subs and 760,000 views is her biggest video. So it was released 11 days ago, right? That's her highest grossing video or her highest viewed video. On the other hand, Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan has 19.5 million subscribers or whatever, or people on Instagram, followers on Instagram. 3.1 million for Joe Rogan Experience. And YouTube, he has 18.8 million subs with 1.3 million views on a video that was released 11 days ago. Okay. His biggest video has like 64 million views or something. So you're telling me this brand new podcast just suddenly gets these kinds of numbers and they're that much bigger than Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, who's getting somewhere around 11 to 12 million views or whatever they call them, downloads or whatever they call them on podcasts. He's getting as many as that many. And she gets these kinds of numbers and this kind of like he's dwarfing her in every which way, but she's suddenly the top podcast. And they're trying to make a big thing like he's been ousted somehow. This is a small flash in the pan. Probably what's happened is she's been propped up to try and beat Joe Rogan. Cause now I think this is my personal opinion anyway. I think the narrative now would be to oust Joe Rogan as the top podcaster, because obviously now you want to get a little bit more. Well, I mean, so I watched, I'm going to frame this. I watched the Not Gonna Lie thing. Unfortunately, it was dog shit. Honestly, it was dog shit. But it seems like she has kind of moderate political viewing. So she doesn't seem to be one that's when she's talking about safe spaces for women in in washrooms and stuff like that. She's obviously referring to trans and such. So I think she probably isn't completely liberal or leftist, I should say, but she's popular enough that they could just insert her in there and make it look like she's going to dethrone Joe Rogan. So I think these numbers are completely, I think it's bullshit. I don't think it's real views. I don't think it's real anything. I think it's just kind of, it's been propped up to make it look like something. Because honestly, I don't think she runs that good of a podcast. Like I've seen other podcasts where I've watched them and thought, well, they could technically dethrone Joe Rogan. The reason why Joe Rogan has such a good podcast is because he has such diverse guests. And he talks about all kinds of different things. So it's, if you're not interested today in his podcast, just wait a couple of days and you're probably interested. So that's the kind of thing. If she's just going to talk about her life, parenting, and, the Kelsey's popularity boost, that's going to be good for about 10 minutes. So, yeah. So I'm calling bullshit on this. I'm calling this this is a propaganda campaign to try and make it look like Joe Rogan's being ousted as the number one podcast. I don't think at all this is true. So we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next, I don't know how often they run this, maybe once a week, once every month or whatever. We'll see if her podcast remains at the top. But according to her numbers on YouTube, I highly doubt it.